Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry for all the
Salam
confusion. I
alaikum.
think they sent another link and I was waiting for all of you on the other side. So, Dr. Danish is with us. I think I need to make him a co-host. Uh, if he is a co-host here, I'm not sure in the meeting.
G, I am right now. Thank you.
You are. Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. So, Assalamu alaikum and good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Advocacy Canada Committee, I would like to welcome you all to our inaugural session of the APPNA Committee Awareness Series. I am Fiza Rafiq, family physician, clinical assistant professor, and past president of FGM Khana and chair of APPNA Advocacy Canada Committee 2025. The objective of this series is to create awareness about the various committees within APNA and to provide a platform for our members to learn about the amazing work being done by these committees. As APNA members, we are all part of a vibrant community of physicians and healthcare professionals who are passionate about making a difference. However, we may not always be aware of the various opportunities available to us to get involved and contribute to the organization. Through this series, we aim to showcase the different committees within APNA, their mission, goals, and initiatives, and to provide opportunities for our members to engage with these committees and learn more about their work. Today, we are excited to have Dr. Danish Bhatti, Chair of the APPNA RESA Committee, join us to talk about the committee's initiatives and projects. We hope that this session will not only provide you with valuable insights into the work of the RESA Committee, but also inspire you to get involved to be a part of the amazing work done by APNA. So let's get started. I would like to invite Dr. Danish Bhatti to share his initiatives and projects. And just a little info about Dr. Bhatti. Dr. Bhatti is a movement disorders neurologist with strong passion on education, including national and international education, to improve access to health for most underserved. Dr. Bhatti is currently Education Chair for Neurology and Director of Neurology Clerkship and Brain Behavior Module at University of Central Florida College of Medicine. He has directed an online mini fellowship in movement disorders since 2017 with over 90 neurologists trained from over 13 countries. He has been recognized with A.B. Baker Teacher Recognition Award by American Academy of Neurology, International Best Teacher Award from Pakistan Society of Neurology, and Impact in Education for Innovative Practices Award at University of Nebraska. He also runs an active YouTube channel with 15 million views and more than 12,000 subscribers. So over to you, Dr. Danish Bhatti.
Thank you, Dr. Rafiq. It's my pleasure to be here. I can go over a few slides that I put together to tell you a brief overview of the RESA committee, but I'm more than happy to take questions and answers more specific to questions you guys will have that may be relevant to you. So I am chairing APPNA RESA committee. RESA stands for Research, Education, and Scientific Affairs Committee, and it's a very old committee that has been working behind the scenes for a long time, and has great potential to be able to do a lot more than what it has been doing so far. So there is definitely opportunity. I would say from the get-go that a lot of the time the way things work in APPNA and APPNA committees is that people come in with a passionate idea or goal, and it's the job of the committee to encourage and support it. So we can tell you how will it get done, what the mechanics, what are the resources available, and then we will facilitate you. We try to do jobs too from the chair's perspective, but often the initiatives are individual initiatives from a certain person who have an idea, and APNA have done a remarkable job of facilitating anyone with a good idea. Sometimes we feel trying to follow along the processes may be a barrier, but to be honest, that just creates a structure for you to follow, and in the long run, makes the project more successful. So the final goal is to encourage any member of APNA to be able to do any idea that they want to bring. I've been involved with APNA since 2017 in multiple committees, members, co-chair, chair for a long time, and I've done so many projects in APNA. Some of you may know, and I have found that there is always facilitation from executive committee, any other committee. Everybody's trying to help. All of us are volunteer. We don't get paid. This is our hobby, passion. We only spend time here. You guys are here despite Ramadan and despite a Sunday, because you really are interested and passionate about doing something. And and APPNA recognizes it and tries to support and encourage any way, shape, or form possible. So my personal experience have been extremely positive, and I will tell you that that's true for anyone. So same is true for RESA committee. If you have an idea, come to us. We'll be happy to work with you on that. So let me tell you what we have done briefly. So we are so far mainly supervising the APPNA's ACCME accreditation for providing EMA PRA Category 1 CME credits. These are the highest category they have and the most recognized globally CME credits. So they are acceptable anywhere in Pakistan, in 170 countries. And it's a very tough job to stay accredited to be offered those. So the way ACCME works is that ACCME does not offer credits. It accredits other bodies to offer the CMEs. So the other bodies then have to work with ACCME to keep up their accreditation. So we get audited, we have homework to do, we have to provide certain material to them to be able to stay accredited. If not, then we lose our accreditation and somebody else will have to offer the CME credits. These CME accreditation that we have, we use it to offer CME activities during live meetings, during international meetings. We are looking to even start offering online credits for online courses, what is sometimes called enduring material that stays there for a year or longer. The credit is for a year and then you have to renew it. So there are many ways to offer those credits. There are other credits that we have not used very well, but there is opportunity. For example, there are credits for people who create courses. So if you're creating a 1 hour activity, whether it be a lecture or workshop or anything, you can actually claim 4 hours of CME credit to create that 1 hour activity. So there are many such categories that we have not touched on yet that we can offer being an ACCME accredited body. And this is done under the umbrella of what is called APPNA Office of CME or Office of Continuing Medical Education that involves many coordinators and people and team. But RESA has a mandate bigger than this, and I will show you that and highlight opportunities for anyone interested. The mission statement put together for APPNA Office of Continuing Medical Education as required by ACCME is to assist practicing physicians, APPs, and other healthcare professionals with educational activities for enhancing their knowledge and skills in the subject areas and apply those knowledge and skills to provide patient care for improved practices and improved performance in practice setting. So that's a very restricted mission statement for the Office of CME under RESA, but RESA itself has a much larger mandate. So the mandate for RESA is to not only organize scientific sessions and education programs at annual, regional, fall, spring meeting. We also become a resource for any other chapter or alumni organization who wants to offer CME credits, and many do use it. I belong to Kemkhana, and we often partner with the APPNA CME office to do it. We offer scientific sessions across associations, meetings in Pakistan and other international venues. We have a network of physicians who can be a good resource to offer CME programs. So far, we have, outside of a meeting, we have not utilized it, but there is a plan to use this network to offer other activities that I will touch upon a little later. NN committee it helps develop policies and procedures to honor physicians of Pakistani diaspora for academic excellence in science and technology. This is the current committee composition for 2025. I am leading this committee along with my co-chairs, Dr. Fawad Taj and Dr. Saad Usmani. And then we have an advisor, Dr. Mansoor Mohyuddin, who have chaired this committee a couple of times in the past. And then we have very significant members, people who are leaders in many other areas. For example, Dr. Salman Malik, he's the APPNA Dental president. We have Dr. Amer Ehsan, who was the chair for this committee last year, and so on and so forth. Dr. Mujib Shah is very active in APPNA in psychiatry. So we have very smart people who have done many of these programs who can help guide. And mostly the role of committee is in terms of creating policy structures and organizing and setting guidelines or helping people deliver. And some of these members have their own particular interest to lead projects. For example, Dr. Fawad Taj, who is interested in leading a project to build and strengthen the APPNA CME speakers network or speakers bureau, and have access to a pool of excellent academicians to be used or tapped on. Similarly, Dr. Sadhuswani is our bridge to merit, in collaborating with them for any activities they are doing. Dr. Salman Malik is preparing dental CME, and so on and so forth. We are re-accredited for 4 years. We have had ACCMA accreditation for a long time. We have unfortunately lost it twice in the past. The third time we got ACCME initial accreditation in 2020, and then it's done in a 4-year cycle at most. At minimum, it could be even only 1-year approval, depending on how our performance is. In 2024, we completed our re-accreditation through ACCME exercise, a very difficult exercise. It's a 70-page application you have to fill out. You have to show evidence as to the quality of the programs you offered, the need for those programs, the quality of the speakers, the quality of the talks, any biases. You have to make sure they were not there. Disclosures were done appropriately. So the goal is that these CME credits should be offered for a good quality, unbiased educational activity that directly relates to clinical practice and practice improvement. And you have to show that as a CME offering body to be accredited. And if you're not able to do that, then you lose your accreditation. Fortunately, we made it through the accreditation, and now we have another 4 years of accreditation. But that means that everything we're doing now onwards will be audited in 2028. And if we don't fulfill all the regulations by ACCME in that audit, then we may lose accreditation or may only get 1-year accreditation back. So, although I am in 2025 and it's 3 years out, I would not even be in the committee in 2028. But every single application or program I see, this is what I'm mindful of, that in 2028, I don't want the CME chair of that year to say, what the hell people were doing in 2025, and where are all the documentation, why there were biases, why the programs were not appropriately done, and so on and so forth. So we have to make sure that we're careful of that and think longitudinally in long term. This is the hours that we offered just 1 year. Last year in 2024, 86 CME hours were offered in multiple programs. You can see the list of programs here, both regional meetings, our summer meeting, our partner meetings, and also our international meetings. And any facilitation we did in a chapter or alumni meeting, that is not even listed here, because those are offered directly by that chapter alumni. We do help facilitate the process. We can help guide. So there are many, many more credit hours that were offered by other organizations, alumni or chapters that we don't even list here. For example, I know in Gymkhana we offered CME for 8 hours last year. That was in partnership with APPNA RESA committee, and is not even listed here. This is directly offered by us. So what is the process for that CME program? We created a formal online application that walks you through the process with some examples of what information is needed for it to be eligible for ACCME credits. Once that is reviewed by the chair and the CME committee, then the process is approved. The next step is to get all the speakers and complete program review and disclosures review. That's again what APPNA RESA committee does, is to review those disclosures and program for any concerns or objectivity. We don't design the program. The program is designed by the local host of the program or director of the program, and is submitted to us for review. And it's their job, if there's something is a conflict, we send it back to them that this is not going to work. We have to review all the presentation for any biases, and then we have to generate learner notification. There is one thing missing here, which will be the monitoring of attendance in the program itself, that we are a little lacking on. And then finally, we are helping with claiming the CME for that activity that also falls under RESA committee. What we have been working on is strengthening the RESA committee so that these programs can run smoothly without any issues as the rules become increasingly difficult and detailed. We have now a part-time CME coordinator, Mr. Shehzad Salim, who has 10 years plus experience. of ACCME CME programs. He's been working with us for 2 years. We have an administrative coordinator, Mr. Walid Zafar, who also runs many other committees for us, including Merit, and is very well versed on administration. We have established a formal application process that removes any issues so that we have data available, 4 years from now for any audits. We are putting together guidelines and policies for CME programs. We have some already, and we continue to improve it every year. We complete the recertification that, as I mentioned earlier, and then we are creating a formal pool of APPNA members to access, although there is not a huge need right now, but there are many future things we can do it going forward. There are things that we can expand into, and that's the opportunity for any member, especially from APPNA Canada, who's interested in participating and have interest in. Merit has already initiated faculty development program. I think there is a big need for development resources for junior faculty in academics in US. So there are many programs that can be created in partnership there, especially if we have pool of academic physicians and mentorship program. We don't have an internal leadership program for our own committee chairs development, EC leaders development. That is something that is a opportunity for us. We don't have enduring material for APPNA members. That need can be identified and that material can be created. And then we can, within the CME offering program, there are some resources that are still missing. So for example, there is a need for post-activity evaluation that is becoming more strictly applied by ECCME. If you do an activity, you have to go back 1 to 3 months later and find out what impact that activity had on someone's clinical practice. In the past, we have not had good data on this, and we were kind of ignored. But I think from 2025 onwards, or December 24 was the deadline. Now all activities will need to show that, and that will be a big problem for us, red flag in 28. Currently, our CME directors that are selected for host committee CME programs, CME faculty that are selected, they do not have awareness of CME rules and regulation. New rules and regulations are coming that are very strict and difficult. For example, you cannot have a non-CME activity within 30 minutes after ending the program in the same hall. And you can be flagged for that if that found out, if you did something like that. So there is a need for a training program for all persons who take on the task of leading or chairing a CME program, even regardless of size. Similarly, assessment process, we need to refine that. Attendance, currently we don't have a good way of doing it and showing that anybody claiming CME was present in the activity. That was not very strictly enforced in the past, but that seems to be an increasing area of interest by CCME. For any ghost CMEs. And then we need to incorporate additional CME methods that are not being used right now. I mentioned enduring material, even creating activity. So if you create, for example, a workshop, if you create a lecture, for every hour of program that you create, you can get 4 hours of CME for creating that. And we have completely been leaving that on the table. And that's a lot of CME hours that we can offer to our speakers going forward in the future. And then beyond CME, once we have a pool of faculty that we would like to develop, then that can be a resource for research and scientific affairs. So far, APPNA has not offered any research platform in a longitudinal fashion. There have been many aborted attempts in the past to create some kind of a research mentorship program, even a research pairing program where we can pair someone with the research. But most of them couldn't last long enough because they were not structured right as to the need of the APPNA member. I think one thing we have to keep in mind is that APPNA is competing against all the other academic organizations that our members join. So I'm a member of American Academy of Neurology. So there's a lot of things that is I have access to through AAN, and I don't necessarily have need or even interest to get that from APPNA. And that's something we have to recognize, that not everything has to be offered through APPNA, and we have to figure out what is the highest needs or priorities of APPNA membership, that where we should focus the energies on, rather than keep starting programs that don't go anywhere and they stop by the end of the year, next year with a change of team. I'll stop here. You can reach out to us at resa@appna.org. Of course, we are listed on APPNA website. There are many other ways to get hold of me or the committee members, and we're happy to collaborate, listen to your ideas, and work with you in facilitating those if they fall within the purview of APPNA RESA. I'll stop here and happy to take questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Danish. That was quite a comprehensive review of RESA committee, and the work you're doing is amazing, mashallah. I have a co-host with me today, Dr. Jameel Akhtar. I would like to introduce him to the members who are here. Dr. Jameel Akhtar is an anesthesiologist, MD, FCA, University Hospital, Northern British Columbia, clinical assistant professor, University of British Columbia, president APPNA BC chapter, Canada 2025, and he's a co-chair, Canada Advocacy Committee 2025, very active member of APPNA BC chapter. I'm sure he has questions to ask you. Dr. Jameel, would you like to ask some questions?
Thank you very much, Dr. Fizarfiq, for your kind introduction. And I think it was an excellent presentation by Dr. Danish. Appreciated all the perspectives of CME, and that is probably the main work for the RESA committee, as mentioned by Dr. Danish, that the need for the research itself is not that dire in terms of the APPNA, because the respective specialties and faculties have their own respective departments or academies where they can do that. So from the Canadian perspective, actually, we don't have much in terms of our CME is in infancy in terms of the chapters, as well as APPNA Canada is still, we are working on those things. And we need to obviously develop our own Canadian CME and take some guidance from the RESA, from APPNA, in terms of developing the accreditation and we are working on it. I'm working on my chapter because our first annual conference will be in August 2025, and the chair is Professor Dr. Nadia Khan. She's a GIM head of department at VGH, and she's a Hypertension Society of Canada president as well. Very highly academic. So we're working on those guidelines from the RESA, which Dr. Bhatti has mentioned, and we will be working very closely onto that. And we appreciate the guidance actually in future from the RESA chair and co-chair and the member committees as we move forward in terms of developing the similar structures of APPNA in Canada. So this is something which we will be collaborating and learning from the past experiences of APPNA Central and their expertise in CME. But obviously there are other aspects of the committees as well, which we can benefit, and which RESA probably haven't yet started that work, and that could be in terms of research itself as well as scientific affairs. And the research probably would be very beneficial in terms of that some of our Canadian Pakistani descent graduates, as well as IMGs or family physicians who are in practice, and if would like to participate in any of the research projects within US, and then or to be included in some of the research projects which APPNA members are performing or doing it in US, and get some guidance in terms of the research. So maybe this is one thing, one aspect which we could further explore and get some help from the expertise of the academics sitting in USA associated with APPNA. So these are probably a couple of things which we can work on this with RESA as a Canadian perspective to move forward and get some experience or benefit in terms of Pakistani Canadian physicians who are working here. So I will leave here and ask if there's any other questions from any Canadian participants or any US participants on this perspective of research. If any of the candidates would like to participate and join them. And secondly, the guidance for the CME accreditation from the Canadian perspective.
I see one question in the chat box by Dr. Tahmina Munaf. Just to introduce Dr. Tahmina, she is the president-elect for APPNA Alberta chapter. She's also a family physician and clinical lecturer at University of Calgary. She's asking that, she's saying that great work being done. How can Canadian members join RESA committee? Is there any requirements in previous experience? And is there available support for new members who can learn more about your work before taking on an active role?
Thank you. Joining is pretty easy. There is no preset requirements or prior experience needed for joining the committee. I think one challenge is that after the last uh, edits to the bylaws that happened, I believe, 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago, there is now a cap to the committee size. And then the only other restriction is that you cannot be either, you cannot chair the committee for more than 2 years. I don't know if membership also has a year duration restriction. I think the member restriction is 9 to 12. I don't know the exact number, but somewhere around that. And then a third of them has to be from prior years. So there are some regulations for EC on things to follow as per the bylaws on how to set up a committee. But the committee is basically approved by the executive committee or EC under the direction or suggestion of the president, APPNA president. Usually they select the chair first, and then they reach out to the chair for any recommendations, and then other people who are reaching out to the president or EC, their names are put together. All of those names are considered, and then a finalized list is made to announce the committee. So I think it will be just reaching out to the chair or reaching out to the APPNA EC or president and asking for joining the committee with showing the interest, and then it will be final their purview or selection on how to select a member or how many members to select based on the bylaws. The chair do suggest names to the president, but they don't have the final authority for selection of the members. It is with the EC to select a committee, and we can propose names, but eventually EC has to accept and decide. As far as I know, there's no written requirements for prior experience or something. I don't know how they select the final list of members based on names available to them. That is between EC to discuss. Learning without being a member is a little tough. All committee meetings are not are private. They're not open public. A lot of things are being discussed or debated that may not be a public information or public knowledge. The best way would be to become a member and then attend the initial meetings. You don't have to be a very active member to begin with. You can be more of an observing member or just listen in. And then gradually, as you learn, you can take on task of co-chairing or even chairing the committee next year. I was RESA committee member for 2 years before chairing it in 2023. And then now I'm again chairing it 2025. I was an advisor last year. So I was involved as a member for 2 years before even chairing the committee. So that does help because now you kind of see what the workflow is and how much work is required and what kind of work is required. I hope that covers all the answers.
Thank you, Dr. Bhatti. I think purpose of these sessions is to expose our Canadian members, especially not only Canadian but all the USA members too, but specifically Canadian members to learn about these committees because where people don't know much about the work APPNA is doing. So I know the committees have already been officially created. We can certainly ask the APPNA EC as well, APPNA EC to include Canadian members maybe as observers for this year if they are interested to join RESA committee. That will be from our part. If one or two members from Canada would like to join RESA committee, they should just be added as an observers for this year. So
yeah, and you can also reach out to me and send me a message or an email, and I will forward it to Dr. Kamar and then to be taken to EC. And it's just that forward. I don't know if there is anything more structured beyond that, but eventually EC has to decide the committee membership.
Thank you so much. I think Dr. Amna Buttar, you had raised your hand. If you want to ask the question, go ahead.
Yeah, I had raised my hand. I'm an observer today because I'm in Chicago. I'm at University of Chicago. Really good presentation, and Dr. Bhatti. I have a question for you. In the past, I have seen it, but I don't think I see it now, or maybe it's still happening. There used to be where young physicians presented their work, like a poster. I have seen it in APPNA meetings in the past, but I don't think it's happening now. Could you touch on
Yeah,
that?
sure. I'm happy to answer. That is true. It used to happen in the past. I have presented it myself when I was a resident in APPNA meetings back in 2014. I presented as a fellow in 2013, 14. Um, I I think so. So that uh, I'm not sure if that's happening yet or not. I know this year is going to be happening again. But what you're asking is the details related to a local host committee or CME committee from the local meeting committee or that is putting the meeting together. They set up the program based on their capacity. They have to figure out how many rooms they have, what facilities they have, what resources they can offer to people coming in or students coming in. So once they have decided what they're going to offer, then they put the program together and apply to RESA committee for approval. And our job is basically to see if there is any conflicts. Is it all relevant education? Would it qualify an ACCME accreditation as per their standards? And then we can give them feedback. If everything looks kosher, everything looks good, we say it's good, it's approved. If not, then we go back to them and say this is not gonna be acceptable as a CME by the ACCME program. You have to remove the speaker, or you have to remove this talk, or rename it, or change it. That's the job of RESA. So RESA directly does not dictate the meetings on what they should have and how much. This is something that is being discussed. Should there be a standard format or structure for all meetings for APPNA, for education side, for CME side? But again, that will be under the purview of EC. And EC set some certain rules, or at least set up a guideline for RESA to create those rules, and RESA will be happy to create those rules. But right now, it is up to each individual meeting host committee to decide what are they going to include or not. I believe, because I'm in some of the discussion, I believe this year in 2025, in the summer meeting, there is a plan to have some kind of involvement of the young physicians in partnership with the Young Physician Committee or YPC.
Looks like it's Dr. Nagat Medi's phone. That's looks like there's gonna be something in Oklahoma too.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
Because this is one way all of us who started with APPNA really started as younger physicians. And this is one way where, because that's another problem. It's not this committee's problem, because there's way more Pakistani physicians in US than who come to APPNA. And once you start getting involved as a young physician, you really get hooked to APPNA. So this is one way of bringing especially if they, people who are in that city, to bring younger physicians to APPNA.
Right.
And there can be an award for the best poster, so they get some benefit from it, and something for their CV.
Right. I think it'll be good for some general guidelines for each meetings, and maybe and RESA can definitely play a role in that. But right now, RESA doesn't have any mandate on that. One thing I do want to say that some of the activities can be offered CME that is not being offered CME. So, for example, poster presentation or abstracts, often done by other committees, they are not right now offering CMEs for it, and it could be explored that you can even get CME credits for reviewing the poster session, or attending the poster session, or presenting at the poster session. So those things have, we are underutilizing our capabilities as an ACCME accredited body, and I'll be happy to explore that with anyone interested.
Sure. And I will apply for the CME, to be a presenter. That's good thing for, I think, general membership to know too, that anyone can apply, because there's a lot of people who are interested and don't know this.
Thank you, Dr. Amna. And I see next question is from Dr. Nikat Mehdi, that great work done by CME committee. Can Central APPNA send these guidelines to all local chapters to adhere to guidelines? Ours in USA academic universities do not encourage out-of-university research, especially in other parts of the world. Very strict conflict of interest required.
Right.
So,
So the way we're using those guidelines and policies right now is that anybody who applies for CME credits from RESA, we communicate with them and guide them. I think most general membership would not want to read it if they're just attending a CME program. It's of less interest to them. But if you are a speaker, or especially if you're a director for a program, you need to know this, because your program that you're putting together must adhere to these. Otherwise, eventually APPNA will get hit by this. And that's one of the challenges, that many people who put programs together, if they are not familiar with it right now, we don't have a training session for them. We don't have any resources for them. Even with a lot of back and forth with APPNA RESA committee, things fall through, and there are things that happen that are not as per guideline. Right now, there is no immediate downfall, but in 2028, when we are going for recreditation, we can easily be rejected. And this has happened twice before. We have lost our accreditation, so we have to be very careful on how we work on these things. The research thing, I don't think it's specifically related to me, but from research side, I can say that um, it's such a huge topic. Research could mean many things. It could be interventional research like drug trials, of course, then it will be a lot of restriction. It could be observational research or database, or like chart review, or taking data or surveys, or doing a survey live, or just looking at chart, and that may be somewhat doable, easier, less restriction. But then there are things that are called research, for example, writing a review paper, a review article, getting published, putting a poster together, or an abstract, case report, case series. I think right now RESA has not done much on it. There are things that RESA can do if there is interest, but as I said, a lot of these resources are also available through either other committees, or through other initiatives, or through their local organization. So it has always been unclear how much of a need there is for the membership. We can, create training programs, educational programs. And again, the research could mean a research for someone who's looking to apply for residency. Then they often work with YPC on this. It may be for someone sitting in Pakistan, then they go through merit on this. If it's for APPNA members, then are they faculty? Are they clinicians in private practice? Are they a junior assistant professor looking to go towards associate professor, and they need to show some research? They need mentorship for this. Because it is such diverse, I think that maybe the lowest hanging fruit is to create a research mentorship platform, where we have faculty available for someone who reaches out to us and say, hey, this is my current position. I'm a resident looking to get into a fellowship. I'm looking to someone to guide me how to put together a research project or something. Again, most of those residency programs internally have such kind of mentorship available. So I'm unclear how big of a need this will eventually be. But I think step one is what my co-chair, Dr. Fawad Taj, is doing, is planning to put together a comprehensive list of academic physicians who could be potential resource for such a mentorship program in the future if there is a need for it.
thank you, Dr. Bhatti. I see Dr. Naveed Sayed has joined the meeting as well. Dr. Naveed Sayed, if you can unmute yourself. He's a well-known neuroscientist here in Calgary, working with research and mentoring lots of students here. Dr. Naveed Sayed, if you want to ask any questions and add on for any collaborations.
Yes, assalamu alaikum everyone, and I think I'm really grateful to Dr. Fizza for inviting me into this group, and I'm just an observer right now. My basic training is I'm a neuroscientist by training. I was scientific director for Hotchkiss Brain Institute, also research director for Alberta Children's Hospital Research Institute. I'm currently chief scientist for Creative Destruction Lab. So I think the work that is being done by your committee is really incredible, and it's a fantastic resource as well. But what I see is that most of the activities are actually academic or CME related. There is a huge gap in terms of research portfolio. Canadian government has $1.2 billion put aside for third world countries to have research collaborations in child, brain, mental health, development, and other issues. Most of that money actually goes to India, and we don't have liaison in Pakistan where we can partner our local researchers here and clinicians for many things. Like the clinical trials is really, Pakistan is a golden, hot spot for data that one could collect. Similarly, I think the opportunities where we could pair our physicians with maybe researchers, the basic scientists, to help empower them for research activities, to how could we actually provide them the opportunity to even collect data that we could have youth or young interns or graduate students who could help them write up a research paper. The other thing I think that's really important is that there are many, for example, Dr. Fiza also, she led MDI, which is, Medical Doctors or Muslim Doctors Association. It is a very strong group of researchers, and they could be perhaps empowered to host research meetings, research conferences whereby basic science and also clinicians can come together and really help train our physicians or junior researchers to be able to really climb up the ladder and then get interested in research. I think those days are gone where you could just see the physician with AI coming on board, modern technologies, techniques. Can we take, for example, the activities of this organization from bench to bed and then beyond, which is really in the market? Many of our physicians, for example, surgeons, have great ideas about surgical tools, surgical procedures. Could they come to this committee, pitch their ideas, and it becomes a dragon's den whereby we can actually facilitate and support them? So I think there are tremendous opportunities. There is so much wealth in this group, and it's an incredible, powerful group of highly qualified, trained physicians who are really ready to give back to their country and motherland, and also empower each other by supporting, helping them writing, for example, different books and different chapters and different review articles. And so I think it's that really helps our junior faculty who have clinical appointments to become, from assistant to associate and full professor. We have done this in Calgary, Dr. Fiza and also Dr. Zahid Rafiq. Dr. Abdul Rahman provided tremendous, really, mentorship, and many people get promoted to the full professor level. So I think the education activities are very good. CME activities are very good. But I think also we could tap into local expertise and chapters where different organizations are to really empower APPNA to get to the next stage.
Thank you, Dr. Naveed. Uh, Dr. Bhatti, is there anything that has been done in set of collaboration with other organizations? I know liaison committee, Dr. Rafia Kutab was sharing something like collaboration with MESA or something with APPNA. That is also a scientific initiative. I'm not sure about it. If you can throw some light on it.
Yeah, so that's an organization. It's called MENASA. So MENA, and then South Africa, I believe, is SA. So Middle East, North Africa, and South Africa, MENASA. So that's an initiative by someone based in, I believe, Tennessee, who has worked with NIH and public health at a federal level for many, many years. And his prior work was he recognized that there is no separate protective category for Africans or Pakistani Indians. Used to be in clinical trial, you were either white Caucasian, African American, and others. So as those categories expanded, he was one of that champion of helping build those categories as required to look for diversity in clinical trials and research. And now he's putting together a platform where various alumni organizations or country organizations are coming together to basically advocate and lobby for better presence in education decisions, policy making, and guidelines. And his plan is to have like an annual gathering of meeting. So that's where APPNA is collaborating. I know there's a plan to have an MOU to work with them, and that platform will be to lobby for and advocate for better presence of our ethnic population in clinical trials, for better diversity of clinical trials, more targeted and directed clinical trials that also direct these ethnic population, and maybe also better dollars for other countries for collaborative research with other countries. Although US seems to be less interested in that area these days, and they are facing internally more actively in the cutting programs, international program. Whole US aid has been shut down, which was the main conduit of clinical trial money to other countries. So I think, but at least within US population, whoever, we have Pakistanis there, and we need to have our voice that they should be better represented in clinical trial, and research should, we should know the drug's effect on our genetics too, So that's the goal for that platform.
Thank you. I see Dr. Tabani has asked a question. Dr. Tabani is the General Secretary of APPNA Alberta chapter. He's asking that APPNA Alberta chapter will be organizing CME sessions during annual meeting in June 2025 this year. How can we benefit from collaboration with RESA CME program?
Yeah, I think being a APPNA chapter, you have access to ACCME accreditation through APPNA, and APPNA offers those credit directly. We also have partnerships with organizations that can offer credits on our behalf. There are costs associated with that is covered by APPNA. So any cost related to using external resources also is covered by APPNA. But if you want those CME credits, you have access to it. You just reach out to me or the RESA committee, and we will guide you through the whole process, how it is done, how do you put together the program. We have templates, we have example programs, we have example objectives, and so on and so forth, things that you need to get a CME for a program. We'll guide you through the whole process and get you, a CME credits for it. So feel free to reach out to us. resa@appna.org.
Thank you so much. I see Dr. Sadiq Naveed is here from APPNA Merit. Dr. Sadiq Naveed, you want to ask some questions to Dr. Danish Bhatti? You can unmute yourself.
Sorry, I'm with my son. I also wrote in the chat, so if you can take the question from there.
His question is, can
Yeah.
RESA provide CME accreditation for merit program, or it is through APPNA?
Right. So let me first describe what is APPNA so people are clear. When we accredited ourselves in 2020 for ACCME after losing it second time, one of the challenge was that we lost it previously because there was no good document tracking. We were not tracking program agendas. We had missing agendas. We have missing objectives. We have missing conflict of interest disclosures in the past. So at that time, RESA committee made the decision that we should have a third party outside who will collect this, because we didn't have a person available to do it who is trained and knew what to do and not make the mistake. So that's how the partnership with APPNA started. APPNA is an CME accredited organization with ACCME. They offer CME from themselves directly. Plus, they also offer these kind of back office services for anybody who wants to offer CME. So since then, we have been consistently using them to kind of do the back office work for us, collect the conflict of interest disclosures, and so on and so forth. However, in the last 3 years, we have increasingly taken over many of these roles, although we still use APPNA for tracking purposes. So for example, tracking all speakers' conflict of interest disclosure is still done through APPNA. We don't do it, although we help reach out to the speakers, we help convince them and follow up with them who have not filled out COIs. So APPNA doesn't do it. We do it with 2 coordinators that we have now. So we are taking more and more of the role of what APPNA has been doing so far. And at some point in future, I see a future where we would not need APPNA and we have our own comprehensive office to do all of these things. But one confusion that has created is that because APPNA itself also offers CME, some alumni organizations, for their own personal reasons, just went ahead and got the APPNA to offer the CME. That is not an APPNA offered CME. That's an APPNA offered CME, but they do get similar discounted rates that APPNA gets because they're an APPNA alumni organization or chapter organization. So if they're in APPNA Council, they reach out to APPNA, they tell them we're coming from APPNA, and then they get access to the same deep discounts that we have with APPNA because we do dozens of programs every year through APPNA. So right now, both of these venues are available. We use APPNA when we offer APPNA CME, but it is APPNA CME that is being offered. We are liable for it. We have to do auditing on the recertification, and we have to eventually be responsible. APPNA does not take that responsibility. They just share all the data they have with us, and then we have to do all of it. Or APPNA directly also offer, but there are many such other offering institutions that can offer UCME very cheaply. For example, when I was in Nebraska, we did some program where Nebraska Medical Society were charging us only $200 or $300 to offer CME for our program, which was even cheaper than APPNA. APPNA right now charges $1,000 per program, and it may consider some multiple programs. So there are these kind of things. APPNA has our own CME program that is run by RESA, and RESA would have to do all the paperwork and figure out and may have to make decision and have to take responsibility for offering any program approved by RESA, and that will be an APPNA CME.
Thank you so much. You have a follow-up question, Dr. Naveed?
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for organizing this meeting. And maybe I can call Dr. Bhatti separately too. So we do have several courses through Merit. So let's say if we want to have CMA accreditation through APPNA, will that cost us? Because yes, last year we did one course accreditation and it costed us $1,000 for 8 hours. So will that still be the cost, or how does that work? Thank you.
Yeah, I think my proposal to EC is that the education account that they have, which has money parked into it, whatever extra money we get from charging CME fees and things like that, that should be used for subsidizing these kind of CME applications. We use it to subsidize costs for all the meetings, for example, international meeting, local meeting, whatever meetings happen. APPNA EC has already approved it, standing approval, so all those costs by Medco get covered by Nick from the central office. Now, these merit programs are relatively new. Once we can convince EC that they should also be all covered by that educational account, then I think that is doable. And I have been a proponent of that since the Merit Academy was started, or APPNA Academy, and it just never materialized. But I would continue to be an advocate for that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Danish. I think the session went very well. Thank you for your presentation, and thank you for all the participants for joining on this Sunday morning in Ramadan, and happy Ramadan to all of you and all your families. Inshallah, the Advocacy Canada Committee will continue to have sessions with various committee chairs in upcoming days and weeks, just to create more awareness about the work various committees are doing. So that we can bring it to our members, and members, if they have any interest to join those committees, they can certainly join and learn about the great work APPNA is doing. And Dr. Jamil, you have any last comments to add on?
Just thank you very much, Dr. Danish, for excellent presentation, and we appreciate the time for all the participants who have joined today for this get to know sort of session regarding RESA of APPNA. And we are doing a series of these introductory meetings with the different committees of APPNA, and so that there's more awareness being developed with the participants and the members in Canada in particular, so that they can participate and benefit from the work of all the different committees which APPNA is doing. So once again, everybody, thank you very much for participating in this meeting, and we appreciate your time, and Ramadan Mubarak to everybody, inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Thank you very much.